Hey Eugenia, it is Dustin. So I'm coming at you with another video here, and this one's kind of interesting because I haven't had a haircut in a couple months because, quarantine and all. So yeah, so my hair is, a lot longer and everything. So tried to do it as good up as I could. So anyway, here, let me just check. Oh yeah, I was making sure it was in focus. So this one I actually wanted to do a Q&A because I've never done a Q&A before. So I was like, well, I think this is a good time to give it a shot. And I came up with a ton of questions here. So I got a whole bunch of stuff written down. So yeah, just lots of random questions and everything. So let's get started with the first one. What was your favorite thing to do as a kid? Well, my favorite thing, I would always dress up in like army gear and everything with my friend Nick. So we'd go and, we'd go down to the park, and there's like a bamboo forest there and everything down the street from our houses. So we'd have all our army camo gear on, and we'd have our toy guns and everything, and knives and stuff, and we'd pretend we were in battle and everything. So we'd play army a lot. I was like super into playing army. So me and him would play the most. So my other friends didn't really do it as much, but yeah, we would play army like crazy. And it's like every day before we played army, we'd watch the movie Top Gun. I don't know if you've seen that before. The fighter pilot movie with Tom Cruise from back in the 80s. We'd watch that or watch some of it before we go out and play, and then we'd get all in our army gear and go out and play. So that was kind of fun, I remember doing that like crazy. It's just funny to remember all that. Next question, what's my dream job? Well, my dream job, maybe you could guess, it is to be a pilot. I've always wanted to be a pilot, gosh, since I can remember. It's like I've just been obsessed with airplane everything. It's because I'm an anxious person, you can't really be a pilot and have anxiety. So they're really stone cold people. So I don't think I'd be able to be like a commercial pilot or something today, but I could be a private pilot. I do want to get my private pilot's license eventually, in a Cessna, a small little airplane, stuff like that. I could do that. So I definitely want to try and do that. But yeah, pilot has always been my dream job. And the next one, what did I want to be when I grew up? Well, pilot was one of them, but the other one, I thought I was going to be an architect. So, because I love architecture of all kinds, from, all time periods, new, futuristic, old, Midgar. I love the architecture in Midgar City, Eugenia. I was just admiring that, like Shinra's headquarters and everything. I just thought that was so awesome. So, yeah. Wanted to be an architect, and still love all that, but, it's not as appealing now because it's a lot of, sitting around, looking at plans and stuff. I'm more interested in the beautiful design and everything, so I'd probably go with like a CAD artist or something like that. That'd probably be my cup of tea, I would say. But yeah, architect. And have I ever fallen over in front of somebody I wanted to impress? This is actually a question from one of your Q&A videos you did several years ago, Eugenia. And I thought I'd put it in here because, I think that'd be something I would do, but I have tripped, and almost fallen in front of people. I think the most embarrassing thing was one time I was with a friend, and this was 8 or 9 years ago, and I was being introduced to a bunch of people, and I had a coffee in my hand. I was nervous to meet all these people. There was oh my God, 10 other people there. And oh, this is Dustin and everything. And I had this coffee, and I just got so jittery. I just went like this, and the coffee just went and splashed all over me, and I was just covered in coffee. So I went from nervous to like mortified, embarrassed. So yeah, I'll never forget that. You know, that was scalding hot coffee on me. So it's like, okay, be cool, be cool. And my nerves just got the best of me, and I was just covered in coffee. So yeah, but that was funny. That was probably one of my most embarrassing moments. So let's see, my favorite thing. Oh yeah, my favorite thing I did when I was a kid to aggravate my dad. My dad wanted me to put this question in the video because he thought this was funny. But when I was little, like 4 or 5 years old, I've had like Cheerios. You know, that was like my favorite thing. And Cheerios are kind of crunchy, you know, they'll crumble and everything. So in the morning, before my dad got up, I was always in the kitchen with my mom, and she gave me my Cheerios to eat, you know, for cereal. And I would take dried Cheerios, make sure they weren't wet, but dry so that they'd crumble, and I'd put them all over the floor, and they blended in with the floor so you couldn't see them. And my dad would always come out barefoot. So when he would come into the kitchen, he'd step on the Cheerios and they'd crunch between his toes, and there'd just be like Cheerio pieces and dust everywhere. And he'd be like, oh my gosh, Dustin, why can't you keep these Cheerios on the table? They're always on the floor. But of course I did it, you know, on purpose because I thought it was funny. So yeah, that was a funny thing I used to do for some reason. But yeah, my dad wanted me to put that question in there because he thought that was hilarious. So yeah, but if I was a pilot, what kind of flying would I do? Well, I would do any flying. I would love to do commercial flying, flying the huge jets. I would love to be a military fighter pilot, flying F-15s, F-16s, all that. Recreational pilot, you know, anything. I would, oh my gosh, even an astronaut. God, I've always wanted to be like an astronaut and go into space and all that. Go up to the space station and stuff. Oh, any kind of flying, I'm just kind of obsessed with all that, you know. Oh, it's just be amazing. The first game I played growing up, well, the first game was probably 1989, or no, 1988, Super Mario Brothers on the first Nintendo. That was, I think, the first one I played, and I was like obsessed. I had this friend, they had a Nintendo and I didn't, and I was like, oh my god, I was so jealous. I want the Nintendo, you know. So every time, you know, we'd go hang out at their house, we would all be playing Nintendo all the time, and oh man, I just had a blast playing it. It was just so much fun, you know. So playing Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt with the little plastic gun thing. I don't know. Those are probably my favorites, you know. And eventually I got a Nintendo, you know, like a year and a half later I saved up and bought my own. But yeah, that was probably the first one I played. But like you, Eugenia, Sonic the Hedgehog, I loved that game too. So that came a little bit later. But yeah, that's probably my first favorite game, Super Mario Brothers. Have I ever seen a UFO before? Well, this is kind of a funny story because about a month ago, I was standing out on the porch. I've always wanted to see a UFO, and so is my dad. So it's like I'm standing on the porch, and I look at the moon, and I look at one of the big bright stars in the south, and I see this object flying past, you know, and it was going, you know, like this, you know. And I'm like, wow, that's fast. That's not a plane. That's not a comet, a meteor, or anything. There's no flashing lights on it. It's just, it was like a star that was going fast. You knew it was going like 20,000 miles an hour or something. And then I saw another one, and I saw another one. And I'm like, oh my God, am I seeing a UFO? This is unbelievable, because this is just kind of weird. They just kept going. Some of them were in formation and everything. And I called my dad. I'm like, Dad, I think I'm seeing a UFO. Go outside and look to the south. And he goes out, and we're out there. We're watching. He's going by. My dad is like so excited. I felt kind of dumb at the end of this, but I'm like, oh my God, we're witnessing UFO. I bet they're aliens or something. I'm like, this is amazing, you know? So we're out there for like a half an hour. I'm at my house on the phone. He's at his house, and we're looking up, watching them. I counted 36 of them, you know? It was the coolest thing I've ever seen, okay? Turns out the next day, it was actually SpaceX satellites. SpaceX just launched their Starlink satellite system, like 140 satellites. They're low Earth low Earth orbit satellites, and that's what we were seeing. And I called my dad, like, so disappointed, saying, Dad, they were SpaceX satellites. I'm so sorry. So, and my dad's like, oh no, you know. So it was still fun doing it, though. It was really cool to see, but I totally thought I was going to see that I was seeing UFO, because I've always wanted to see one, and so has my dad. So yeah, that was an almost. If I could transport to Disneyland right now, what's the first thing I'd do? Oh my gosh. I want to go to Disneyland so bad, of course, with you, Eugene. But the first thing I would do, oh my gosh, I would go to Fantasyland and Disneyland, because I haven't been there in years. I'd be taking pictures like crazy. I'd want to be looking at the castle. I love that castle. I think it's Sleeping Beauty Castle. I'd go to the Tangled, the little Tangled place, because there's a Tangled place there at the Tangled Tower. We'd go to Snow White's house. Oh my God. I'd go to Cars Land and California Adventure. I want to go on the Cars ride with you so much, Eugenia. I'd go there and see Radiator Springs and Cars Town and all that. I'd go on the Haunted Mansion, of course. Another one I want to go with you, Eugenia. And I would go Pirates of the Caribbean. That was like my favorite ride back in the day when I last went. So I would definitely, I'd probably ride that a couple times. I'd want to see that, Pirates of the Caribbean, and that big masted ship, Columbia, that's there in that little waterway. I'd want to see that. Those would be the first things I'd do, but oh my God, I would be going crazy just wanting to go and see everything. So then I'd be like, oh, you know, I'd check your Twitter and say, oh, I wonder if Eugenia is planning to be here at Disneyland, and I'd be like, Eugenia, I'm here in Disneyland, oh my gosh, you know, come hang out, we gotta do all this stuff, you know. Pixar Pier, I'd love to go to Pixar Pier, yeah. So, there's just too many things. The funniest things I saw when one of the funniest things I saw when I laughing hysterically and uncontrollably. The thing that stands out in my mind the most, I'm one of those people that laughs like crazy, you know, at things. Like, I can't even catch my breath. I'll be like laughing so hard, especially when I was like a little kid. I'd say the time that sticks out in the most was, I don't know if you've seen the movie Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase. It came out in like 1989. That's like one of the best Christmas movies. It's so funny. Home Alone too. I love Home Alone. That's one of my favorites. But on Christmas Vacation, there's a scene in the movie where Chevy Chase, who's the dad in it, they go to this mountain that's all snow and everything, and he wants to go as fast as possible, so he like waxes this sled thing and everything, and he gets on it, and he's like, later dudes, and he puts his hood up and he goes, here we go, ready to burn rubber. And then, you know, 1, 2, and then at the third one you just see him take off like a rocket. He's just like a fireball down the hill. I don't know how they filmed it, but it was so funny. I was like laughing so hard, I could not stop. That's probably the funniest thing I can remember, that I just was laughing so hard. Oh my God. If you haven't seen that movie, you'd have to see it. It's so funny. I just love it. But yeah, that scene sticks out the most. Oh gosh. What hairstyles have I had, and what hairstyles have I always wanted? Oh my gosh. Well, you know, this haircut. And I've had long hair before. And oh my gosh. Back in the 80s and early 90s, I had like the MC Hammer hair steps, you know, where people would put the steps in their hair. I had that. I'd had the bowl cut. I've had spiked hair and everything. Oh my gosh. What hair would I want? I'd want Cloud's hair. I think Cloud's hair is like amazing. So it's like Cloud and Noctis like have the coolest hair like I've ever seen. So besides having long hair like Brad Pitt from Legends of the Fall, which I've always wanted too, I would have that. Probably Cloud's hair is probably the coolest. It looks like it would be a difficult and long process to spike all that though, but his hair is amazing. I'd probably want to be friends with Cloud more than anything, you know, like hanging out with him and everything, going on an adventure with him and the crew, and I know you'd love to do that too, Eugenia. So I would want some hair tips from him. Say, dude, can you help me out with my spiky hair and show me how it's done? I want the professional Cloud hair spike. So yeah, probably hanging out with Cloud, you know. He can do my hair up and then we're gonna go adventure and everything and battle some enemies. That would be awesome. And do I believe in ghosts and the paranormal? I love ghosts and paranormal stuff like so much. I would say I've not seen a ghost before. I've always wanted to see something like that. The incident that stands out in my mind the most is me and my friend Ian made a Ouija board one time when I was a kid. We were probably in 5th grade. So we made this homemade Ouija board, you know, and we were downstairs at night, you know, we just had some low lights on and we're trying to contact spirits, and I don't know if our mind was playing tricks, but it was just the weirdest thing. Ian was freaked out too because we weren't, our fingers were barely touching that little, I forget what it's called, the little thing that you put your hands on the Ouija board, and it was moving, you know, and it was moving and we were feeling stuff, and I don't know, it was the weirdest feeling. We got so freaked out, we took the Ouija board and we put it in the garage, and I didn't go down in that part of the house for probably months because it freaked me out so much, because I'm like, oh my god, we conjured a spirit and I'm possessed, you know, so I'm like freaking out that I'm possessed or something. So yeah, that's the closest I've been to seeing a ghost. But let's see. Do I remember my dreams in the morning? I try to. I dream a lot. Like, as you know, Eugenia, I send you like a lot of my dreams that I have about you, but I dream a ton and I probably remember 50% of them, which is awesome, you know. Dreams are just the coolest thing ever, you know. Sometimes they feel so real, oh my gosh. And sometimes they're just horrible nightmares, but I do remember both kinds, but most of the time I do remember a lot of my dreams and everything, but I find dreams so interesting, you know? Like, oh my gosh, teeth falling out, oh I hate that one, you know? The sleep paralysis, oh, I've had all that stuff before. Yeah, I remember most of my dreams, you know? My favorites are of course of you, Eugenia. I have a lot of dreams about you and me doing stuff together, so, which is awesome. But, if I had $100 million, what would I do with it? Well, I would probably put it in the bank and save it. I'm like a frugal person, and I don't know, I'd put it in the bank and save it. I'd talk to my dad about investments because he's good at investing stuff, and I'd invest some of it and put the rest in the bank. And I would become a philanthropist, and I would donate money to charities, and I'd spend all my time, you know, with charity events and helping people out. It's like, I don't know. That's okay. If you want to talk about dream job, that would be my dream job, to have $100 million in the bank, invest some of it, and then be a philanthropist, helping people and charity and organizations. That would be like the ultimate dream job right there. So that's probably what I would do, I would say. So yeah, I always like entertaining those thoughts, you know, those dreams, or a dream like that of, oh, wouldn't it be awesome if I could do that, you know? But yeah. So anyway, it's at 20 minutes. I went at as a good as pace as possible, because these G7X cameras, I think it's like 22 or 23 minutes. You know, if you don't press the stop button, it will automatically stop recording. I don't know why. So, but anyway, I love you, Eugenia, and giving you kisses. Hopefully my hair is okay, you know, feels kind of puffy. I just loved your, oh my gosh, your video of you and your mom cutting your hair today. That was just so awesome. it was a great video. It's great to see your mom again in the video. It's just really awesome to see her in your videos again, and she did such a good job cutting your hair, Eugenia. That was cool. So I think I'm gonna maybe have my mom try and trim my hair because she's done that before. So yeah, can't wait to get a haircut. That's like #1 on my list. But anyway, Final Fantasy VII Remake was so amazing. I loved watching you play that, and oh my gosh, the Sephiroth battle at the end was amazing. Yeah, I can't wait to play it myself, you know. Of course I want to play it with you and Kingdom Hearts, but yeah, just so amazing. So anyway, I love you, Eugenia, and I'm always right there with you, and I hope you're having a good day or a good night, and yeah, I will be seeing you in my next video, Eugenia. So I love you so much. I thought I'd film downstairs. It's a little different, you know. Can't wait to do vlogs again. That's gonna be cool. So anyway, I think I'll see you in my next video. Okay, I love you. Bye. Bye. Gonna hit the record here. Okay.